Welcome to weekly Forex forecast from Forex Trading Wizard Academy. This is Forex Wizard, your trading coach. I'll be doing a complete multi-time frame analysis of all the hottest currency pairs, cryptocurrencies and indices that we'll be looking to trade next week. Now, the list is a bit longer as usual, but don't worry, I'll put a time stamp in the description area. But I'll suggest you to watch all of them. As you have seen in our previous weekly Forex forecast, most of the pairs did exactly according to the analysis. As you have seen that NFP has been released and most of the pairs started to show the direction in the market. And before I begin this weekly Forex forecast, make sure guys that you give a big thumbs up, smash the like button and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't done yet. With that said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Okay traders, so we'll be starting with first of all AUDUSD. Now as usual, like in all our analysis, we'll be looking at first of all bigger picture and then we'll look at the lower time frame to see how the market will be heading. So let's look at first of all monthly time frame. Now if you look at the monthly AUDUSD, this is a long-term bearish market, but what we have seen the previous months, AUDUSD has bounced from this monthly level of support with this big bullish monthly candle. Now what do you see that as soon as this new monthly opening, AUDUSD primarily has gone up to test this important previous support zone, which is turning resistance. Now if you closely look at this red candle, it is a quite significant bearish engulfer. And we see that the price just been respected that level, this previous support zone on the monthly, which is standing as resistance, and we have seen that AUDUSD has a bounce. Now what is likely to happen, as this is the monthly candle and just this is the first week of the month, we primarily could see some rejection to the downside on AUDUSD for a significant retracement, and then later we might see that it is again going up. So looking at weekly perspective, we see that AUDUSD, this is the weekly candle that is also a doji, which is a little bit of bullish, but it is a doji. So after this kind of doji, what we can expect AUDUSD, what I think that the price is likely to go up initially a little bit and then to could drop to create a higher low with this weekly candle and then probably will close as a red doji again. So with that in mind, this week AUDUSD highly likely will remain in between this resistance and this support. So with that said, let's look at daily time frame to see in fact how the price action is doing. Let's look at daily time frame. Now on the daily perspective, we see that AUDUSD has created a narrow candle that in fact respected the high of the previous day. So this is a narrow doji. Then how we can find trading opportunity along this zone in AUDUSD? If you closely look at, you see that AUDUSD was respecting this previous support, which also acted here as resistance, which is a pretty important area of value, which is this support here, resistance here, and also support here, support here. What we can expect AUDUSD, what I think that respecting this previous resistance, we could see AUDUSD this week coming back down initially to test this support on the daily, and then we might see that a bullish move happens. So if we look at the intraday perspective on AUDUSD, what do you see that potentially there is a probability for dropping from this zone? As you can see during the NFP, we have seen there was a reversal pattern has been formed here and the price has broken down of this structure. With that breakdown, what we have seen the last session of the trading week, the price, this reversal pattern, this support zone acted here as resistance, and we have seen a retest of this previous support turning resistance. Now with that resistance, what we can expect initially to go up again to create another retest candle along this zone. Highly likely that the price will create in the first session a lower high from this resistance, and we are expecting a drop from this level initially at least to this level on AUDUSD, as we are expecting a weekly doji. That highly likely that AUDUSD will remain between this level and may remain bearish as AUD looks like weaker. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for AUDUSD for a potential bearish setup, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPAUD, starting with again monthly time frame. Now GBPAUD looks like that strongly bullish currently. As you can see, after this impulse on the monthly, there is a strong rejection from this level. We have seen a very weaker response from the seller. This is the candle on the monthly that you can see has a long wick at the bottom and also body in the middle, giving us a very weaker retracement. So if we take our Fibonacci from this move to the upside to the downside, we see that the sellers even couldn't make the price to 38.2% Fibonacci level. That means that GBPAUD is highly bullish, and at the same time with that rejection we see that it has formed an inverted head and shoulder. So what we can expect now, AUDUSD to continue to go up in this direction on the monthly perspective. Now looking at weekly, we see that back to back 2 weeks strong liquidity gap. If you closely look at, there is one candle here on the weekly has crossed this support zone, created this bullish candle. There is another one here also did the same. The previous weekly low has been crossed, has broken this level and created this bullish candle. So with that in mind, what we can expect now, GBPAUD is to respect this resistance and then to continue to go up, or even we could see a gap opening and then continue to rise. Now looking at the daily perspective, what we see that on the daily perspective, GBPAUD has created a very typical bullish price action. First of all, this is the daily. As you can see, this is a bullish engulfer which has crossed the low and crossed the high completely. Now also this bullish engulfer on GBPAUD has formed in an order block where there is the previous resistance here acting here as a support, and also there is a support, and also there is a support here, resistance support, giving us a potential strong buy base for this move to the upside. And this is the last day of trading week on GBPAUD on the daily, which is a very strong bullish candle. So with that in mind, what I will be waiting, as you can see in the intraday perspective also, we have seen a very strong impulse. What we could potentially see in the new trading week, very little slow retracement, and this is what I am expecting on GBPAUD, at least to retrace to this doji zone, back to back 3 dojis, as you can see, which is also acting here as a support for this resistance. And as soon as market open with slow retracement to the downside, we will be entering a long trade on GBPAUD from this zone with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at AUDCHF, starting with again monthly time frame. Now AUDCHF, as you can see, this is a long-term bearish market. Monthly price action highly bearish, as you can see, quite a few monthly dojis and then a strong breakdown. And if you closely look at the monthly price action on AUDCHF, you can clearly see that this is a strongly bearish market with this strong breakdown. 2 months we have seen a consolidation and created a doji here and then has broken down. Now this current month, what we have seen, the price created a lower high with the previous months and started to drop. Highly likely that this price will continue to drop in this direction, and this is a long-term bearish market. Looking at weekly, we see that on the weekly perspective, AUDCHF has created a doji that also has grabbed liquidity on the weekly perspective from this level. What we can expect in the new trading week, the price to continue to drop after little retracement to the upside. We could see that AUDCHF is coming back down, and highly likely that the price will respect this daily trend line. Now if you closely look at, you see that there is a liquidity grab on the daily time frame. This is a fake move to the upside, and with that fake move, the price in fact has broken this level to the upside, grabbed liquidity on the daily, and we have seen a drop. Now this is the last day of trading week, which is a middleman with this liquidity grab, giving us a very strong probability for dropping. Highly likely that it will drop from this level, as this is the daily candle. You can see it has a long wick at the top, long wick at the bottom, and this is the support turning resistance here. Now if we look at the intraday perspective, we see that AUDCHF has created a bearish engulfer that has a multiple liquidity grab. As you can see, the previous one also liquidity grab. This one has crossed even that one's high, created a very strong bearish engulfer, and according to our trend following strategy, we see a very nice looking sell signal on AUDCHF. So as soon as we will find a little bit of retracement to the upside on AUDCHF, we'll going short on this market as soon as market open, keeping our stop loss above this high and targeting at least 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio in this trade. Now let's look at NZDUSD. Now looking at NZDUSD, starting with monthly time frame, we see that NZDUSD, this is also the previous monthly candle is a bullish. Now this month, as soon as market open, we have seen primarily a strong rejection to the upside. At this point, as you can see, the price is facing this monthly bearish engulfer. It has a long wick at the top on the monthly and with a healthy body, and we could potentially see some rejection from this level, as this level previously there was a lot of rejection from this zone. So with that in mind, let's look at the weekly perspective. Now on the weekly time frame, we see that NZDUSD, this is a very strong weekly impulsive move to the upside. So with that impulsive move, what we can expect now, NZDUSD, what I think after a little push to the upside, we could see this week rejection as the price is facing this weekly resistance. And what I think that the price might go up initially and then could come back down to form a potential retracement. Looking at the daily time frame, we see that NZDUSD on the daily has created this big impulse, and now we can expect a correction, as we see that this week dollar might remain initially a little bit of stronger. We might see initially a rise and then a drop to complete this retracement to the downside. If we look at the intraday perspective, what we see that NZDUSD has created a price action with this bearish candle followed by this narrow doji. What I think that NZDUSD is likely to do, as like other USD pairs, highly likely that NZDUSD will create a deeper retracement to the downside, and then from this zone we could see a bullish move. Now if we draw the channel that NZDUSD is moving to see in fact where we can expect NZDUSD to drop. Now if we draw this level, we see that there is a channel that NZDUSD was moving along this channel that has broken to the upside. What I think that this week NZDUSD will continue to drop to this level, and from this zone we could see again bullish move. So like AUDUSD, if we see a strong bearish move on NZDUSD, we'll consider going short as long as we see a clear bearish price action. And keep in mind that this is a long-term bull market, and at any point we could see continuation. So as soon as we will see suitable entry opportunity for bearish setup along this zone on NZDUSD, we will consider going short. And once we will see NZDUSD has done proper retracement to this level, tested this important order block, this is the previous resistance zone which is turning support here. If we see NZDUSD has come back to this level, tested this zone, then we'll consider going long from here again to ride this trend to the upside. Now let's look at AUDNZD. Now AUDNZD, looking at monthly time frame. Now as you can see, this is the monthly price action. AUDNZD has broken all this level of previous support zone on the monthly perspective, giving us a potential strong movement to the downside. Now looking at weekly perspective, we see that this market has been a very strong drop on the weekly. There is first of all a strong drop followed by this correction with this doji, and as another drop. Now what we can expect, as you can see, the price is now currently very overextended to the downside. What I think that this week, as you can see, Aussie dollar is getting little bit of stronger. Initially we could see that AUDNZD is going up for a deeper retracement, as the price in a very important level of support zone. If you draw this level, you can see that this level in the past in fact acted here in different area as a support, and from that support you see that support here, resistance here, support here. What I think that initially we might see a little bit of drop, and then we could see a deeper retracement to the upside on AUDNZD. So with that in mind, let's look at the daily perspective. We see that a big drop, correction, big drop. Now after this kind of drop, what we can expect, AUDNZD after little retracement, we could potentially see a deeper retracement, as the price already has overextended to the upside. We can expect retracement. So on the intraday perspective, as you can see on the 4 hour, this market already aggressively bearish. Unless we see a very strong reversal pattern, we may not be able to go long on a AUDNZD. Instead, we will be observing the price action as this market already overextended to the downside, neither going short or not bullish. Unless we see a very strong reversal pattern, then we'll consider buying NZDUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of price action we have. Now looking at dollar yen, looking at the monthly, we see that on the monthly perspective, dollar yen now started to be bearish after the previous monthly very strong bearish candle. This month, what we have seen, that dollar yen, as soon as market open, has dropped. Now the way the price action is forming on the monthly, it is still bearish, but this week we might see some bullish move in dollar yen. Looking at the weekly perspective, we see that there was a big drop happen on the weekly, followed by this correction. Now you see that dollar yen has dropped again. This is what I exactly expected in the weekly forex forecast. If you have seen that, now what we can expect on dollar yen, what I think that after little retracement, we could see the dollar yen is going up again to test this previous support zone, which is turning resistance. This is the weekly support zone here, as you can see, this green candle in this big move, which is turning resistance, and highly likely that this week, after coming back down, dollar yen is likely to go up to test this level. Now looking at the daily perspective, what we have seen that on the daily, the price already has created a pattern that is very easily recognizable. There is an head and shoulder here, as you can see. With that head and shoulder, the price has broken down. Now when you see a head and shoulder, what you can expect, the price to go ahead and test the neckline of this head and shoulder previous support zone, which is turning resistance, and then to continue to drop. So with that in mind, what we are expecting now, dollar yen, is to price to continue to go up to test this previous support zone, which is resistance, and then to drop. So with that in mind, if we look at the intraday perspective, as you can see, the price action here is still bearish. If we see dollar yen has given us a very strong reversal pattern here for a potential bullish setup, we'll consider going long initially on dollar yen to take this move to the upside. And as soon as we will see the prices here testing this previous support zone, long-term support turning resistance, and if we see enough rejection along this zone, we'll consider going short on dollar yen for to take this long-term move to the downside with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at CADJPY, starting with monthly time frame. Now CADJPY, on the monthly perspective, we have seen a very strong monthly bearish engulfer. That monthly candle has crossed the previous monthly bullish candle, and we have seen close back below, passing all this level, giving us a giant bearish engulfer, and close back all this monthly level of support. As a result, as soon as this market opened this month, we have seen that CADJPY has dropped aggressively. Now what we can expect, this price to continue to drop. Now looking at weekly perspective, we see that this is the weekly candle after the previous weekly very strong bearish engulfer. This week also CADJPY has created an enormously strong bearish engulfer. Then where we can expect CADJPY to continue to drop, if you closely look at, you see that primarily we could see a retest of this previous support zone, which is turning resistance this week, and then a rejection again. Now looking at the daily, what we have seen that on the daily time frame, CADJPY has created this daily structure which is bearish, and the price was creating series of lower high, has broken down. What I think that CADJPY highly likely to do, as there is a strong bearish engulfer followed by this doji, that the price may even continue to drop from here, or even after little retracement to the upside, breaking this high, testing this level, we could see that CADJPY is coming back down. Now if we look at the intraday perspective, we see that there is a very strong bearish engulfer on the 4-hour time frame, which is highly likely to be respected. What I think that, as you can see, after this kind of bearish engulfer, this is another doji which is highly bearish price action. So what we could potentially see initially, as soon as market open, we could see a spike down initially on CADJPY, and then going up to test this level, and then continuing to this side. So if we see CAD CHF, as soon as market open has given us a strong drop, we'll consider even going short from here with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURJPY, starting with again monthly time frame. Now EURJPY, on the monthly perspective, we have seen that after the previous monthly bearish candle, we see that this is a very strongly bearish candle in this big long-term uptrending market. It has created strong momentum to the downside as yen is getting stronger and EURJPY is started to drop. Now what I think that this market this month also we could see further drop. Now looking at weekly perspective, we have seen that on the weekly time frame, EURJPY, after the previous weekly narrow doji, we have seen a very strong rejection. Now what we can expect on EURJPY, the price to test this previous neckline of this, as you can see there is a double top, has broken down to test this previous support, turning resistance, and to have another rejection on the weekly as well. Looking at the daily, what we see that on the daily perspective, EURJPY, there is a liquidity gap here on the daily we have seen, and from that zone very strong rejection, back to back 2 days red candle. What we can expect now in the new trading week, what I think that initially we might see a drop, and then highly likely the price will go up and test this level and then will continue to drop, as this is the previous support zone which is turning resistance. So if we look at the intraday time frame, what we are expecting on EURJPY, the price to go ahead and test this very important area of value, as this is the 20 EMA here as well, and also this is the previous support zone on the weekly as well, turning resistance. And as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll be going short on EURJPY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Looking at GBPCHF, as you can see, GBPCHF like GBPAUD also highly bullish. Now if you can see, this market has on the monthly perspective created this rejection to the upside, followed by this month what we have seen that GBPCHF has reached this level so far. Now let's look at on the weekly what might happen. Now if you closely look at, we see that GBPCHF on the weekly perspective has created a bullish candle. What I think that after month in the new weekly opening, after going up, it might come back down again and then could continue to go up. So with that in mind, looking at the daily, what do we see that GBPCHF on the daily perspective created this impulse, as CHF looks like getting a little bit of stronger. If you closely look at that, this price action is not showing a strong momentum on the lower time frame, though on the higher time frame we see a very strongly bullish. Then what we can expect on the intraday perspective on GBPCHF is for the price, what I think that this price might come back down further. As you can see, there is a long rejection here. The price couldn't break this high, this resistance. What we could see on GBPCHF, as CHF is getting stronger, we might see another rejection from this level to this zone, and then from here we could see that this instrument is going up. So as the trend is up, we may not take a counter trending trade. Instead of, we'll be waiting for the price to come back here to this previous resistance zone, which is turning support here. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on GBPCHF, we'll go long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDCAD. Looking at monthly, we see that on the monthly perspective, USDCAD, this is a long-term bull market. Back to back 2 months we have seen significant bearish candle. Now this month what we have seen, as soon as market open, primarily a push to the upside. What we are expecting on USDCAD is, I think that this week, though it is a monthly bearish, we might see a rejection from this resistance level, but this week we might see some bullish move, as dollar looks like this week might be getting stronger. Now if you closely look at on the this weekly candle on USDCAD, which has a half green body at the bottom, long wick at the top, what I think after a little retracement, USDCAD will continue to go up. Now if we closely look at, we will see that this is the previous resistance zone, which is turning support here, and I think on the daily perspective we could see after retest of this level on USDCAD, we might see another spike to the upside on the lower time frame, I think that the price will likely to test this level, and from here we might see that dollar CAD is coming back down. So if we look at the intraday perspective, we see that this is the strong impulsive move to the upside, and then we see back-to-back two narrow dodges on the 4 hour. That is giving us a potential strength in dollar. If you compare this candle, which is the NFP candle, with this retracement candles, we see that dollar is stronger, and we see buyers are very strong in comparison with the sellers. So with that in mind, what we will be looking for initially as soon as market open for a potential bullish setup on USDCAD to take this move to the upside with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at Aussie yen, what it is doing. Looking at the monthly, what do we see that on the monthly perspective, Aussie yen is currently highly bearish. Now after the previous monthly close, we have seen the price has completely disconnected from this long-term consolidation. Now if you look at the overall picture, Aussie yen was in a long-term bull market for a very long time, and with that bull market we have seen a very long consolidation. So now we see that Aussie yen is breaking down. What I think that Aussie yen might come back down further to test this previous resistance zone, which is turning support. And as you can see that Aussie getting weaker and yen getting stronger, with that in mind, we might see some free fall on Aussie yen to test this level, and then later we could see a bullish move. So looking at weekly, we have seen that on the weekly perspective, a very strong rejection from the top on Aussie yen. What I think that this week we might see some little retracement, and then finally to continue to drop. So if we draw this neckline of this reversal, there are back-to-back two support, which is turning resistance on Aussie yen. We see that these are the two levels that the price might respect and continue to drop. Now looking at the daily, what we have seen that there is a very strong daily bearish engulfer, which is a full body red. After this big drop, correction, another drop. Now this is the daily candle that is also highly bearish. What I think that the way this price action has formed, you can see that a full healthy body giving us a very strong momentum for drop. What I think that highly likely that the price will respect this daily high and then could continue to drop initially in the week. So with that in mind, if we look at the 4 hour, what we have seen multiple times, the price grab liquidity once here and also once here and also once here, giving us a very strong bearish price action. What I think that even as soon as market open, we could see a rejection from this level. So on Aussie yen, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, as soon as market open, we may go short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Looking at EURNZD, looking at the monthly, first of all, we see that EURNZD on the monthly, there is a liquidity gap. This is the monthly resistance zone. As you can see from this liquidity, we have seen that EURNZD has broken down completely. Now with that breakdown, what we see that the price grab liquidity from this top, and then what we have seen that EURNZD has dropped to the downside. What I think this price likely to continue to drop further. Looking at the weekly, if you closely look at on EURNZD, is giving us a big sell signal. Now if you look at closely, we see that EURNZD every week after this double top formation, the price has broken down, and then what we have seen that the price creating series of lower high in this instrument. Now what you see that this current week, the price grabbed liquidity from a very important level where there is a narrow doji on this green doji weekly candle. The price has penetrated that level, and also back-to-back 2 weeks opening and closing, and then close back below, giving us a potential bearish setup. Now looking at the daily, we have seen that on the daily perspective, EURNZD created this strong move. What I think that the best place for EURNZD to look for potential bearish setup is on the retest of this previous support zone, which is turning resistance. At the market already dropped, we need a suitable retracement to the upside. So as soon as we see the price has gone up to test this level on the rejection, we can expect for a potential bearish setup on EURNZD. Now if we look at the intraday perspective, we see this market already but looks like that there's not strong enough drop, so that means that we could see further rise on EURNZD in this level to grab liquidity, and from that zone we can expect going short on EURNZD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPNZD. Looking at monthly, we see that on the monthly perspective, GBPNZD also highly bearish. Looks like that NZD very stronger in that respect. So with that in mind, what we could see, looking at the weekly, this is a very strong weekly bearish engulfer. As you can see, it has crossed couple of weeks high and then closed back below with this long red candle that has a long wick at the top, long wick at the bottom, giving us a potential middleman. So with that in mind, what we can expect in the new trading week, GBPNZD to test this level, which is the previous support turning resistance. Looking at the daily, what we see that on the daily perspective, this daily candle, the last day of trading week, is in fact a sell signal. Now if we turn on our TF indicator, we see that multiple sell signal along the zone, and what we see, this current candle which has a lower high with the previous day's green candle, and also tested this important consolidation pattern here. You can see this previous support zone which is turning resistance and drop. So then how we can find a trading opportunity along this zone? If we look at on the 4-hour time frame, this is where I will be waiting for a potential rejection along this zone. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity, GBPNZD along the zone, will sell GBPNZD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at DXY. Now as you can see, DXY during the NFP we have seen a huge liquidity grab and then has dropped. Let's find out what kind of price action we have, because DXY in fact is a great indicator of how dollar might behave. Now what do you see, the DXY primarily, this is a long-term bullish market, but this month we have seen the previous month has a strong rejection from the top, giving us potential this month also remain bearish, but this week we could see some deeper retracement to the upside. Now looking at the weekly, what we see that this is the weekly price action on DXY. With that, it has broken down, followed by this narrow green candle, and then what we have seen, the price grab liquidity and then has created another bearish engulfer. So what I'm expecting on DXY is initially to drop first and then go up to test this level and then to drop. So with that in mind, let's look at daily time frame. What we could see on the daily, initially we might see a little bit of drop and then to rise up to test this important level, previous support zone here as a resistance. Now, if you closely look at, we can see that DXY in fact form an reversal pattern here, which is a head and shoulder, and from that level we have seen creating series of lower high with a liquidity grab. DXY has dropped, giving us a strong bearish possibility for dollar. That means that dollar getting weaker, but initially we might see strength in dollar. So what we could see on DXY, initially after little retracement, the price to go up and to continue to drop. So with that in mind, then how we can find trading opportunity, what I think that, as you can see, this is the zone that I will be really waiting for DXY to retrace. So if we could see the primarily a drop and then the price to go up and test this level and then to remain bearish from this level. So this could be a very important area of value for potential bearish setup on DXY. So as soon as I will find that opportunity, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPUSD. Looking at monthly time frame, we see that GBPUSD on the monthly perspective, this is now turned into a bullish market. You can see this is a support zone here and has a very strong rejection from this support. Now this month, as soon as market open, we have seen a bullish move to the upside. Now at this point, the price is just on this resistance and highly likely that this market now is overextended, and we could see this week potential deeper retracement, as with initially we might see rise and then we can expect to retrace down. Now looking at the weekly perspective, we see that GBPUSD on the weekly, there is a big move happened with that inverted head and shoulder on GBPUSD. We have seen a very strong impulsive move to the upside. What we are expecting now, GBPUSD initially to go up and then to come back down, test this level, and then to remain bullish again at the end of the week. So with that in mind, looking at daily, what we can see, GBPUSD, what I think that initially the price to go up and then to come back down to test this level and then to remain bullish again. So with that in mind, let's look at the 4 hour, and what I think that if you draw this channel that GBPUSD has created, we could potentially see that GBPUSD at some point we might see a deeper retracement to the downside. If you draw this level, what we see that GBPUSD in fact has broken out of this previous resistance here, tested here as support and created this structure. Now this price action is still bullish. Now once we will see significant rejection in this zone, as the price still did not test this previous support zone here, which is turning resistance, and at the same time the price is facing monthly resistance, we might see on GBPUSD for a deeper retracement. So what I will be expecting GBPUSD to give us a deeper retracement along this zone, or even coming back to this level, and as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity for potential bullish setup on all these zones, as soon as we will see suitable rejection and entry opportunity, we will consider going long on GBPUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at US oil, how it is doing. Now looking at US oil, looking at the monthly, we see that US oil on the monthly perspective, primarily this market monthly has created a very strong bearish candle. If you closely look at, we see that US oil has rejected from this top, from historically high price, and then previous months created this bearish candle. Now this is a bearish candle completing a head and shoulder on US oil, giving us a potential further drop in this direction. So with that in mind, let's look at weekly time frame to see in fact how it is doing. Now if you closely look at weekly, we see that this is the weekly candle, which is still bearish. Now if you see that there is a double top on US oil, has broken down from this double top, liquidity grab from here, and with that liquidity grab on the GBPUSD, we see this week the price has gone up for a deeper retracement. What I think that highly likely US oil will test this resistance and then will continue to drop from this level. Now this level is so important because this is the neckline of this double top here, which is support turning resistance here on US oil. So if we look at daily, we see that there is already a daily bearish engulfer has been created from this 20 EMA. If we adjust this level on the lower time frame, what you could potentially see in the new trading week, what I think that the price might break this daily high and remain below this level, and from this zone we could see that US oil is coming back down. So if we locate this two level, this is the daily high and this is also daily high. Now going to the intraday perspective, what I'm expecting US oil, as you can see, it has already broken this local structure, this local previous support turning resistance. What you can expect now, US oil to go ahead and test this level and to create a lower high in this zone, or giving us any suitable bearish price action. As soon as we will see US oil here, if we see suitable entry opportunity, we'll consider going short on US oil with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPJPY. What we see that monthly perspective on GBPJPY, this is after the previous monthly close, we have seen that GBPJPY has created a very strong bearish price action. Now this is the monthly candle which is facing this support. What I think that GBPJPY might drop further. As you can see, there is a strong rejection from the top, and also the price is approaching this monthly doji. What I think even this price might come back here to test this level again. Now looking at weekly, we see that this is the weekly candle which is in fact highly bearish. Now this candle, if you compare with this back-to-back 2 weekly candle, we see that this is a very strongly bearish. Now looking at this support zone here with this narrow doji, what I think that GBPUSD, GBPJPY highly likely to go there, test this support as a resistance, and then to continue to drop. Now looking at daily, this is the daily price action. We see that on GJ has created a bearish price action with a potential head and shoulder here. So this is the head, this is the left shoulder and this is the right shoulder. Now what we can expect on GJ, the price to test this, either this support as resistance or even penetrate this level to test this one, which is the weekly support zone as resistance, and then to reject. Now if we look at intraday perspective, we see that the price already create a pattern that has a strong rejection from this 20 EMA. Now according to our TF strategy, we see that sell signal on GJ. So what we will be waiting for are potential retracement to this level in this zone. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity, we will consider going short on GBPJPY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURGBP starting with monthly time frame. Now we see that EURGBP on the monthly, it has created a very strong bearish price action. As you can see on the monthly perspective, we have seen a very strong rejection from this top, followed by every month series of lower high. Now this month, what I think that this price will continue to drop, as if you look at this historically bearish market. Looking at weekly on EURGBP, we see that there is a strong impulse correction. Now this week we have seen a doji that is also potentially bearish market. Now with that in mind, what we can expect in the new trading week on EURGBP, what I think that the price will test the half of this weekly week, and from this zone we could potentially see a rejection on EURGBP. Now looking at the daily, as you can see, this is the daily candle on EURGBP that has not been able to break this daily low. Now there are two probabilities now on EURGBP, is to consider this one is an impulse and to open with a gap and then to continue to drop. Another probability is if it cannot break this low on the daily, we might see deeper retracement to test this level and then to drop from here. So with that in mind, let's look at intraday perspective. We see that EURGBP already created a price action which is highly bearish. As you can see, the price was respecting this dynamic resistance on EURGBP. Now what we can expect, the price to go ahead and test this level and then to continue to drop. So if we see that EURGBP in fact has broken this support, we'll consider immediately going short on EURGBP with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURCAD. Now in contrary to EURGBP, we see that EURCAD showing a very strong bullish price action. Looking at monthly, we see that on the monthly, EURCAD is in fact highly bullish. Now this is the monthly candle that has formed on EURCAD, a middleman, followed by this month. Also you have seen that so far very strongly bullish. What I think that this price continue to go up at least certain level on the monthly. This is the monthly resistance, and then we might see a rejection. Looking at the weekly, we have seen that on the weekly perspective on EURCAD created this impulse. Now this is a very strongly bullish market. What I think that the way the price, you see the full body green, there is no even weak in the candles giving us a potential huge volume in it. Now what I think that EURCAD to continue to go up in this direction. Now looking at the daily, now this is the daily price action. As you can see, a very strong bullish engulfer followed by a narrow doji. It is a continuation pattern. So what we can expect on the lower time frame is, as you can see, there is also a bullish engulfer followed by a continuation and narrow doji. On EURCAD, what I think that as soon as market open, we could potentially see that EURCAD is bullish. As you can see, back to back, two very important buy signals according to our trend following strategy, giving us a potential strong momentum to the upside. So what you could potentially see that EURCAD even going out from here, as soon as we will find entry opportunity from the top, probably you could see a gap opening or a weekly candle. Initially in the beginning of the week, we'll consider going long on EURCAD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at euro dollar. Euro dollar, as you can see, we have seen a very strong bullish move on euro dollar. Now looking at monthly perspective to see in fact how the price action is doing. Now the previous monthly close on EURCAD, you can see this is a very strong bullish candle. It's a middleman. Now as soon as this market opened this month, we see that initially a strong bullish move. What on the monthly perspective, what we could see that euro dollar in fact going up to test this previous resistance here as well. So that in mind, euro dollar, we could see this month also bullish, but this week we may see significant retracement to the downside on euro dollar. Now looking at weekly, we have seen that there is a big impulse correction. It is in another impulsive phase. Now you can see that euro dollar, this price action, this weekly candle is strongly bullish, full body green, giving us a potential momentum to the upside. So what we could see on euro dollar, initially a rise and then to drop. I think that the price will highly likely will come back to this level where there is a previous support, resistance, starting support, and also along this trend line that we can see on the lower time frame. Now looking at daily, what we see that there is a long pin bar on the daily perspective on euro dollar. So the price either will respect this resistance here with this long wick or even penetrate below this level, and then from this level we could see that euro dollar is going up. So with that in mind, as you can see, the way the price action has formed on euro dollar is, as you can see, there was a rejection from here, from this zone, and then created this move. Now what I think that euro dollar, we might see deeper retracement, as this price action, what we see is not strong bullish moment, bullish price action. So what you could potentially see on euro dollar, what I think that to gain further momentum, we could see on the lower time frame on euro dollar. Let's draw this level and then we'll know what I think. Euro dollar, initially we could see a rise and then coming back to this level, testing this previous order block zone. If you closely look at, this is where the big boys place their buy order. Where is the previous resistance zone? Here, previous resistance zone here, and also previous resistance zone here, turning support and then going up. And at the same time, we need to keep in mind that if you look at the higher time frame, we see a very strong bullish price action. So based on the lower time frame price action on the market opening, even we could see rise from here. Everything is possible in trading. So what we will do in our approach is, first of all, we will see if we see a very strong bullish move on the way, then on a slow retracement we will buy euro dollar, will go bullish along this zone. On the other hand, if we see that euro dollar has come back down for a deeper retracement along this zone, or even from this level, we'll consider going long on euro dollar with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at CADJPY, starting with monthly time frame. Again, we see that CADJPY on the monthly, this is a very strongly bearish market. After the previous monthly close this month, so far we have seen a rejection. What I think that this market continue to drop as we see a very strong bearish momentum. Now looking at the weekly, we have seen that on CADJPY, after this drop followed by this correction and consolidation, we have seen that CADJPY has broken down. Now as you can see, this is the weekly price action, which is very strongly bearish. What I think this week, after coming back down initially, we could see a deeper retracement to the upside on CADJPY, and we could see that the price is testing this at least to this level, which is the previous support zone here, turning resistance. Now looking at the daily, and now you can see that on the daily time frame, the price already has broken down with this liquidity grab. Now what we are expecting on CADJPY is to go up and test this level and to continue to drop. So that in mind, if we look at the intraday perspective, what I will be waiting for CADJPY to give me a suitable retracement along this zone. What we are expecting, as soon as you will see the price testing this previous support, which is turning resistance from this level, on a rejection we will consider going short on CADJPY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Okay, now let's look at gold. Let's see how we can trade gold. Now as you know that we are running a trade on gold even from the YouTube live, and we'll see how we can manage this trade in the new beginning of the week. So first let's look at bigger picture on gold to see how it is doing. As you can see, gold after the previous monthly close, this is a bullish candle, very strong bullish candle, giving us a potential bullish movement to the upside. So gold may remain this month also strongly bullish. Then how we can see this week, what I think that we might see a deeper retracement on gold in this direction for this candle. As you can see, there is a wickless candle on the monthly, and we might see the price has broken this level and then has gone up again. Now if we look at the weekly perspective, we see that this is the weekly candle on gold that is facing currently very important level of resistance. One resistance with this red candle and another resistance with this green candle, and the price is just between this red and green candles resistance, which is a very important level of resistance. What I think that this week, as this is the weekly chart, gold initially might go up little bit and then we could see a drop, and later we might see again continuation to the upside. So initially we can expect gold for a deeper retracement to the downside. If you look at the daily, we see that there is a daily doji has been formed. This is the daily doji on the daily perspective, which in fact a very narrow and hanging man in this very important weekly level and daily level of resistance. What I think that this is the level that 1802, gold highly likely that will respect this 1802, and then we could see that the price has come back down. And with that in mind, let's look at the intraday perspective. And if we look at the intraday or 4-hour time frame, we have seen that there is a double top formation, as you can see on gold. This is the double top, and then we have seen a breakdown from this double top, and this is where we have entered the trade. Now for those who are running this trade, I will suggest you to bring your take profit target at entry. As gold has formed a new market structure, we need to see in fact how the new market structure is being formed. As the market will open, highly likely that from this retest, gold will come back down again at least to this level where there is a previous support zone here and also support zone here. Now with that movement of this entry to the take profit to the entry, we will close that gold trade break even. Now deleting all of them, then what we can find in the new trading with the trading opportunity, the firstly what we will be doing is, what I think that gold is highly likely to do is gold will come back to this previous support zone, which is turning resistance to test this level. As you can see, the price already left an imbalance in this zone where you can see the support here, turning resistance here, has not been tested properly yet, and this is a very important order block. As you can see that big boys has bought from this level, which is the previous resistance here and also resistance here, turning support. So what we will be expecting on gold to come back down to this level, and as soon as you will see gold in this level on first day or second day, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity for going long on gold, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. If you want to trade gold in those instruments that we are trading in our Forex Trading Wizard Academy and also learn our strategies, you can find the link in the description area. You can visit the website, join us, discount going on, which is ending very soon. So now let's look at GBPCAD. Now, like EUROCAD, we see that GBPCAD is highly bullish at this point. Looking at the monthly, we see that this is the monthly candle after the previous monthly middleman. As soon as the monthly open, even with the weekliest candle, we see that GBPCAD started to push up. And what I think that this market is likely to go up, as this is a very strong impulse. I think this movement even could go there as well. There is a big potential for this price to go up. Looking at weekly, we have seen that on the weekly perspective on GBPCAD, this is a big impulse on the weekly, and this current weekly candle is very strongly bullish. What I think that in the new trading week, we might see a little bit of retracement and then could continue to go up. Looking at the daily, now on the daily perspective, we see that highly likely that GBPCAD will continue to go up even with little retracement or without retracement. Now if we look at the intraday perspective, we see this price action on GBPCAD is highly bullish. There is a bullish engulfer followed by this narrow doji, which is as strongly bullish. So if we see in the new trading week, what we are expecting to open with a gap to give us a strong bullish engulfer along this zone. As soon as we will find that, we'll consider going long on GBPCAD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDCHF starting with monthly time frame. Now we see that on the monthly perspective, NZDCHF so far is bullish. There is a strong bullish candle followed by this monthly bullish. Now this month also, after the monthly opening, we see that NZDCHF primarily going up. What I think that NZDCHF highly likely that the price will go at least to this level or the monthly resistance zone, and from that level we can see NZDCHF is coming down. Now looking at the weekly, we see that NZDCHF has created this bullish candle. What I think that NZDCHF is likely to go initially to go up, come back down to retest this level, and then to continue to go up. Looking at the daily, we see that NZDCHF on the daily, this is an impulse, and with that impulse, what we can expect the price to go up, either continue to go up from here even, or after going up a little bit, come back down, test this previous resistance zone, which is turning support, and then to continue to go up. So with that in mind, what we see that on the intraday perspective, the price has created a very strong bullish price action, and at the same time we see that the price facing this resistance, there is a strong rejection from here. What I will be waiting for NZDCHF, if we see the price couldn't break this resistance, instead creating a very strong bearish price action, creating a reversal pattern, then we can consider going short on NZDCHF from this level with a high probability trade setup. On the other hand, if we see that NZDCHF has managed to this level, and then on the retest of this previous resistance zone, which is turning support, we can consider going long on NZDCHF with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDCAD, starting with monthly time frame. Now we see that on the monthly, NZDCAD in fact is highly bullish. Now this is a very strongly bullish market. What I think that this price may remain bullish for this month as well. Now looking at weekly, we have seen that a very strong aggressive bullish move on the weekly on NZDCAD. Now this week we might see initially a movement to the upside, and then I think that will come back down for a deeper retracement. Now looking at daily, this is what happened on the daily, a big impulse. What we can expect on the daily, the price to give us a potential retracement to the downside, and then we can consider going long. As this is an overextended market, we need proper retracement for a potential bullish setup. Now if you look at the intraday perspective, we see that the price already created a bullish move followed by this narrow doji. What I think that this price we might see initially drop on NZDCAD at certain level, and then we might see a bullish move, or even we could see NZDCAD to continue to rise. So as soon as we will find suitable strong bullish price action along this zone for going long, or on a retracement along this level where there is the previous support zone turning resistance, we will consider going long on NZDCAD. We will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDJPY. Now as JPY is getting stronger, we can expect NZDJPY to give us a potential bearish setup. Now as you can see, this is the NZDJPY price action on the monthly. As soon as market open, we have seen some rejection. Now this is the monthly candle. What you could see on NZDJPY, what I think that the price might come down, further drop, as there is a long wick here, and if we take at least half of this long wick, we still can see further probability for NZDJPY to drop this month. Looking at the weekly, we see that this is the weekly candle that is a very strongly bearish. Now there is a strong rejection. What we can expect in the new trading week for the price to test this weekly resistance and then to drop. Looking at the daily, what we see that NZDJPY, this is the daily price action where after this liquidity grab on the daily with a double top, which is a sign that this price action is strongly bearish, we see that the price tested this resistance on the daily and created a doji. What I think that in the new trading week, the price highly likely that will respect this resistance and then will continue to drop. Now if we look at the intraday perspective, we see that this is the level where there is a previous resistance zone here, and also turning here as a resistance, and from this level we can expect NZDJPY to continue to drop. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity from this zone on NZDJPY, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at dollar Swiss franc, how it is doing. Looking at monthly, we see that USDCHF on the monthly perspective, has created a very strong bearish engulfer, which also from the top, from this historically high price, which is a very strong liquidity grab on the monthly perspective, giving us a potential future drop on USD CHF. So with that in mind, let's look at now how this month is likely to do. As the price already has come back down initially, what I think that USDCHF this week the price might go up and test this monthly 20 EMA. Now looking at the weekly, on the weekly perspective, the price has created this impulse correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase. What we can expect, what I think that USDCHF is likely to do is to test this trend line on the monthly, and from that trend line we could see that USDCHF is coming back down. Now looking at the daily, what we see that the price already has created a doji, and this is a very strongly bearish price action creating lower high. What I am expecting on dollar Swiss franc is from this doji, after breaking little bit, to go up and test this level and then to drop again from this resistance zone. So if we look at the intraday perspective, we see the dollar Swiss franc in fact created a price action like completely opposite than the one that we have seen on euro dollar and GBPUSD. What we can expect on USDCHF, what I think that either to create a false breakout along this zone and to drop. Another probability for USDCHF is for the price to first break down and then to go up, test this level, and then to continue to drop. So based on the price action, if we see the prices here, we'll consider going short on USDCHF with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDCNHs. Now USDCNHs also we see that a very strongly bearish. Now looking at the weekly, first looking at monthly, we see that USDCNHF from the historically high price created a monthly bearish engulfer, which is a sign that USDCNH has reversed from this level. Now we see that as soon as market open, a drop, and we could potentially see this market also aggressively dropping. Now looking at the weekly, there is a weekly bearish engulfer with a liquidity grab. Now what we have seen that USDCNHF in fact likely to drop, as it has created a very strong bearish engulfer. What I think that this week first initially will drop and then will go up to test this level, and then we could see that this price is coming back down. Now looking at the daily, now there are two probabilities. As you can see on the daily, there are back-to-back two dojis in this big dropping falling market. We could see this two daily doji, double doji is being expected, one probability, and then dropping. The other probability is for the price to go up again, test this level, which is the previous support zone here, and also creating a potential head and shoulder along this zone with this, and then to drop. So then how we can find trading opportunity if we look at the intraday perspective? So this is what I will be expecting for USDCNHs. What I think that after breaking initially, we might see USDCNHs has gone up again to this level, and from this zone we could potentially see that it is coming back down. So if we see suitable entry opportunity on the spike to the upside, we'll consider shorting USDCNHF with a high probability trade setup with our students. So let's look at quickly on natural gas. What we see, the natural gas is highly bearish monthly. You see that there is a strong breakdown, a reversal from here. Weekly we see very strong weekly bearish engulfer giving us potential strong movement. Now on the daily we see that the price has already created this impulse. Now we can expect a significant retracement to the upside. So what we can expect on natural gas on the retracement on the lower time frame, we'll consider going short on XNGUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDZAR starting with monthly. We see that USDZAR on the monthly, this is the monthly candle. As soon as market open, we have seen a higher low on the monthly and a bullish move. So what I think that this market, we might see another spike to the upside on USDZAR, as this is a long-term bullish market. Now if we look at the weekly, what we see that USDZAR has created a weekly candle that is also bullish. Now we could see that this price basically remaining in between this support and this week, as this is a bullish candle. At the same time, the price was creating series of lower high. So what I think that the price initially might come back down and then will go up. So with that in mind, let's look at the daily perspective. What do you see? That this is the daily candle created for the last 3 days of the trading week. We see that USDZAR and the bulls are stronger. So what we will be waiting in the new trading week is for the price to come back, test this support on the daily, and then to go up. So with that in mind, if we look at the intraday perspective, if we find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, as you can see, according to our trend following strategy, we see a very strong buy signal along this zone, and as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity for going long on USDZAR, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at indices. Let's see how they are doing. First of all, starting with BTCUSD to US30, and then we'll look at the crypto as well. So US30, starting with monthly time frame. Now, as you can see, this is the monthly price action on US30. The monthly candle closed with a very full body green. What I think that as you can see, back to back 2 months, very strong rise with this full body green, and the price already has broken the monthly high. I think that US30 this week also will come back down, at least in the first couple of days. Now looking at, because the price already reached this monthly resistance, this is an overextended market, we can expect a deeper retracement. Now looking at the weekly, you can see that a bullish candle, doji. What I think that after going up, this one also coming back down, and this week we might even see a doji on the weekly time frame. So with that in mind, let's look at daily perspective. Now as you can see, the way the daily price action has formed, what I think that US30 is likely to do, you can see there is a nice looking doji. What I think the price will first go up, will break this doji's high on the daily, this high, and then will remain below this daily low, and from that zone we could see that US30 primarily coming back down probably to this daily 20 MA, and from here we might see a bullish move. So with that in mind, if we look at the intraday perspective, we see this is a doji has been created on the intraday on the 4 hour. What I think that this price highly likely that will break this high, and from this zone we could see that US30 giving us a potential shorting opportunity. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity initially along this zone, a strong rejection, we will consider going short on US30 with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDAQ. Now as you know that both indices almost following each other. Now NZDAQ, what we see that this is the monthly candle has closed, and now as soon as this monthly open, we have seen after breaking the monthly high, primarily rejection. So with that rejection, what we can expect, what I think that this price might come back down further for a deeper retracement on the monthly perspective. Looking at the weekly, this is the weekly candle that has in fact grabbed liquidity from the bottom and also liquidity at the top. What I think that NAS 100 as well is likely to do, considering this weekly price action, the price might go around this zone where there is the previous weekly resistance, and from that level we could see a drop to this level where there is a weekly support zone, and we might see a higher low along this zone and then going bullish again. So looking at daily, what I think that you see back to back 2 dojis, though this is a bullish price action, but I think the price will test this, will break this daily high, this last day's doji, and from that zone will come back down, will test this daily 20 MA, or from this level we could see that NAS 100 is going bullish. So with that in mind, what we will be doing, as you can see on the 4 hour time frame, we see a head and shoulder has been created on NAS 100 and tested this neckline of this head and shoulder previous support zone, which is turning resistance. What I'm expecting on NAS 100 for the price to go up and test this level and then to reject to this zone. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at BTCUSD, Bitcoin or crypto. So what do you see that on BTC monthly price action is highly bearish. Now this monthly candle close, which is a very textbook strongly bearish engulfer that has in fact crossed the previous monthly high and then closed back below with this long bearish engulfer. Now if you closely look at the overall picture on BTCUSD, is a long-term downtrending market. Now strong rejection, correction, rejection. Now this is also bearish market structure, followed by this current monthly candle, the previous one is highly bearish. After this kind of bearish engulfer, we can expect couple of candles to continue to drop. So where we can expect then BTCUSD to have another rejection. So we see that this is the previous support zone here, which is turning resistance, and also there is a previous support zone turning resistance with this one as well. Looking at the weekly, we see the price is now going up for a deeper retracement. This is the weekly impulse. Now we can expect a correction to the upside. If we take our Fibonacci on the weekly perspective, we see that from this impulse to the up to the down, we see there is a 61.8% and 50% Fibonacci level on BTCUSD, which could be respected, and then we can expect a rejection. Now on the daily perspective, you see that this is the previous resistance zone here with this narrow long green candle. Highly likely that the price will go ahead and test this level and either will create a lower high or a higher high, and then highly likely the price will reject from this level. So this is the zone that I will be really waiting to see the price to reach. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll consider going short on BTCUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at Ethereum USD, starting with monthly. The same way, we see that this is a very strongly bearish market like the BTCUSD, a strong bearish market followed by this correction and consolidation, which is in fact, I see that there is a high, there is a low. This monthly candle is a very strong bearish candle. Now after this kind of candle, what we can expect, couple of monthly candle to be printed. Now if we look at the weekly, we see that there is a weekly bearish candle here, correction. Now we can expect a drop. So where we can expect Ethereum USD to have a bounce. Now if we see closely, there is a previous support zone turning resistance, can be a very good area for Ethereum USD to test. Now if you closely look at on the daily, if we readjust this level on the daily perspective, this is the zone that I will be expecting on Ethereum this week to go up and test this level. And as soon as we will find the price is there and rejecting, creating a bearish candle along this zone, we'll consider going short on Ethereum USD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now guys, this is all this Forex, crypto and indices that we will be trading. In addition to this, any other pairs giving us suitable entry opportunity, definitely we will be entering the trade, and I will keep you updated over the week in the analysis and in the live streaming. I sincerely believe that guys, that you enjoyed this video, and if you find value in it, give it a big thumbs up. And also don't forget to check out the link in the description area if you want to trade with us and also learn our strategies. You can join us. There is a discount going on. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon in my next analysis.